When it comes to becoming a better artist, we are always told we need lots of practice, but there's a lot of steps in between drawing boxes and creating something like this. So I've been studying how professional artists apply what they've learned to create meaningful art that we as viewers care about, and now I'm here to tell you about 3 keys to a great artwork that often go overlooked. I'll walk you through how I applied all of this to my latest piece, so you can make your own art better too. We'll be going over a simple method to get better ideas, then a few techniques to communicate your ideas more clearly, and finally I'll show you a way to speed up your art process without sacrificing any quality. So, one of the biggest mistakes me and a lot of other artists make is not giving our characters anything to do. This is really bad, since there's not many ways to show off your character's personality if they're stuck in the void doing nothing. The number one way to fix this is trying to tell a story with your art. It doesn't need to be anything big or too complex, but knowing what you want to portray helps you make more interesting decisions. The easiest way to give your character a story is to work around a verb. For example, take a look at this character art by Krenz. You can see how the fact that this maid is falling is affecting everything around her. Even a story as simple as this can provoke reactions such as surprise or pain. This is immediately more interesting than if they were just standing straight. The cool thing is that we can take this even further by describing the verb itself. Look at this other artwork by Krenz. The maid from before is cleaning sadly. You can make pretty much any combination you can imagine. Running angrily, eating happily, standing menacingly. The point is, just give them something to do. I, for example, decided to make this girl hold some flowers happily. No need to think about it too hard. We're still in the brainstorming phase. Just pick a verb and try to work around it. So after giving it some thought, we know what's going on in our scene, but we want to make sure our viewers can understand what's happening too. Professional artists do this by using composition to naturally direct our attention to certain part of their artwork. Think about who or what you want your audience to be drawn to. We'll call this the focal point. Take a look at this other piece by Krenz. There's a lot going on, but notice how everywhere you look, there's an element guiding your eyes back to this spot right here. This is what's called convergence, and it happens when many lines meet on the same place. But there's no need for complex structures like this when you're just starting out. You can use other elements like your character's hair, clothes, limbs, and pretty much anything you can think of to create convergence. Like this other piece by Rella. We can make our focal points stand out even more by using contrast. Contrast is created when an element in our piece is strikingly different from the rest of our scene. For example, you can create contrast with lighting, saturation, color, size, shapes, and so on. I decided I wanted the focal point of my piece to be around here. You can see how I created a sense of convergence using her hair and clothes. I also used some contrast in saturation and lighting to highlight my focal point even more. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to composition, but just by combining convergence and contrast, you can create a pleasant experience for your viewer that's also easy to digest. But the thing is that creating a 3-dimensional scene in your head that also tells a story is really hard. But there's a trick that can save you hundreds of hours in the long run. Let me introduce you to thumbnailing. Thumbnailing is doing a series of quick small sketches to test out compositions. This way you can quickly discard ideas that don't work, instead of dedicating hours trying to save a piece that didn't look good in the first place. For example, a few months ago I made a bunch of thumbnails for this drawing. After trying many different angles, I knew this was the one, even if I still had to draw and paint everything. I set myself on the right path from the beginning, and all it took was a few minutes of thumbnailing. Here's the thumbnail I used for my last piece too. You can see how there's not much going on yet, but it has the same general shapes as the final piece does. By now you can probably tell that there's a lot that goes into an artwork like this. One of the things that separates our work from the best are the layers of intention and planning behind it. This comes less naturally to lower level artists like us, but that's okay. The only reason professionals get it right so easily is because of how much they've learned from the many mistakes they've made. There's nothing wrong with drawing aimlessly for fun. But just taking some time to plan your next piece can really make a big difference when it comes to connecting with your viewers. And speaking of connecting with viewers, I really wanted to say thank you to everyone who watched my previous video. I was told that running a YouTube channel was going to be a very lonely journey for a long time, but knowing there's thousands of you watching already and getting something out of my work gives me a reason to make better content. I also left a few links in the description where I'll be posting my art from now on, since a few of you asked me in the comments. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.